California Congressman, Democrat Ro Khanna. Congressman, welcome back to Fox News Sunday.
Thank you for having me this morning.
Okay, you know more about this than most, so let's get started there with what Elon Musk told our own Tucker Carlson.
AI is more dangerous than, say, mismanaged aircraft design or production maintenance or bad car production, in the sense that it has the potential, however small one may regard that probability, but it is non-trivial. It has the potential of civilizational destruction.
Civilizational destruction, let me get that out. How would you characterize the threats from AI, or do you see them?
Well, like any technology, it has the potential of extraordinary good. I mean, it can map the human genome and lead to extraordinary advances in medicine, but it also could do extraordinary harm if it designs systems that don't have human judgment. And I think what the most important thing is to make sure humans always have the final control and we have safety checks.
Yeah, and there are the conversations about whether Congress should be setting these rules, whether the UN or some international body does it. I want to play something from a former Google CEO, Eric Schmidt, talking to you guys in Congress about how this should play out.
Let American ingenuity, American scientists, the American government, and American corporations invent this future, and we'll get something pretty close to what we want. And then you guys can work on the edges where you have misuse.
Do you think that's how it should work? Let American companies work this out, let the AI advance, and then if there is trouble, then Congress should get involved?
No, I think we need to be proactive about it. We need to come up with clear rules for safety, clear rules that say humans need to have the final say. But here's the thing. If we aren't leading here, China, they're not stopping. They're building their AI. And I think the most important thing is that it's American leadership with American values on this technology, and that it's the American people putting the rules out and not China.
So Congressman Jerry Connolly, a fellow Democrat of yours, talked about this at that hearing, and he said, listen, social media companies have all kinds of power. We haven't been able to come up with any kind of legislation to deal with those issues. What makes us think that Congress can actually get it together on AI?
Well, it's sad that we haven't been able to do it on social media. I mean, the place where we should come together on social media is for young kids. 1/3 of teenage girls in this country have contemplated suicide. Part of that is because of social media. There should be bipartisan concern that there should have a standard that you can't harm children and be able to regulate social media in that way. I think on AI, having a framework that says we need safety regulations, we need human checks is something that should be bipartisan. This should not be a partisan issue.
Well, we will watch to see where you go on that. But let's talk about what you did this week that's making a lot of headlines. You've taken heat for saying that Senator Dianne Feinstein should resign after weeks of being out for medical care. You also responded to a tweet. Somebody was criticizing you about that, and you said it's just common sense and added this. There's no job I know of where you can just continue to not show up and people think that's perfectly fine. We live in a democracy. The people are the boss. Now, Senator Fetterman has been out longer than she has. Is your concern just about her, or would you say it also applies to him as well?
Well, only in Washington would you get criticized for saying something so obvious. I have a lot of respect for Senator Feinstein, but she's missed 75% of votes this year. She hasn't been showing up, and she has no intention. We don't know if she's even going to show up. She has no return date. In contrast, Senator Fetterman has said that he's going to show back up on April 17th. So it's one thing to take medical leave and come back. It's another thing where you're just not doing the job. The reality here is there's the sense, well, you need to have a deference to these senators who've served so long. How about a deference to the American people? How about an expectation that if you sign up to do one of these jobs, you show up?
Okay, so a number of folks out there have said it's ageism, it's sexism, but it may be also a political opportunism issue for you. I want to read something that Kimberly Strassel wrote in the Wall Street Journal. She says, don't think Mr. Khanna is motivated entirely by civic-mindedness. Governor Gavin Newsom has vowed to appoint a black woman to Ms. Feinstein's seat should she step down before her term ends in 25. Mr. Khanna happens to be co-chairman of House Republican Barbara Lee's campaign for the seat. Ms. Lee is an obvious top contender for a placeholder pick, which would give her a huge leg up over rivals in 2024. So your response to those who say this is a political situation for you more than a concern for the country?
Well, I'm very proud to be a co-chair of Barbara Lee's campaign, one of the strongest anti-war voices in the Congress who's opposed to these foreign interventions. But Governor Newsom can appoint a caretaker. He doesn't have to appoint someone in the current race, and I would support the governor doing that. This has nothing to do with the current race because a caretaker would solve that. This has to do with someone who's just not showing up, and I said out loud what people have been saying in private. And this is how the Beltway works. They don't like it when you call out someone who's in power, and that's why people are unlikely to do it. But, you know, we've had so many calls from the American people, and they say, yeah, it's right. If you're going to sign up to do these jobs, show up.